Well, you guys have both mentioned how well Stuart Hogg played over the weekend, and we can now have a chat to the star of the show. We've got him on the line now. How are you, Stuart?
I'm very well, thanks, guys. How are you?
Hoggy, you sound very energetic as always. Let's get straight into it. How are you getting on? How is Exeter? Long way from home?
Yeah, I'm loving it so far, Big Jim. The boys have welcomed me with open arms, and it's been an enjoyable few weeks. A lot of learning to be done, but I've had a lot of fun along the way as well.
And you said they've welcomed you with open arms. Was that while they were stood there naked, all of them collectively, with a special pint? Well, I mean, what do you mean open arms? What
initiation? We need to hear about this, don't we?
I've heard. I've kind of heard little snippets of what's happening, but thankfully I managed to miss that. We've been at the World Cup, so I think it might not get done at Christmas time. So, anytime I got asked the boys about it, they just laughed in my face. I guess you just got to take it on the chin and get on with it, don't you?
That won't be the only thing that's going on your face in that initiation. Let's talk about the game at the weekend. Obviously, massive performance from you boys over at La Rochelle. Bit of pressure perhaps from the week before when you lost at the death against Bristol. How was the planning in that? Because ultimately, and you wouldn't have experienced this at Exeter, but people have said they've underachieved in Europe over the last few years. Is this the year that could be the one that they lift the trophy?
Yeah, he was hoping so. I think, for us, we were a bit disappointed with how the Saturday week gone, and we were a bit disappointed with that result. But look, we got back on the horse and realised that it's a completely different competition, a chance to kind of freshen up again and get on to having that complete Exeter Chiefs performance, which I think we had at the weekend. I think over the last few weeks it's been coming in dribs and drabs, and then we've kind of switched off for a little while and allowed teams back into it. But at the weekend, for me, I felt that we were in complete control for the full 80 minutes, and you can see that in the final result.
And we need to talk about it as well, because there was a kick quite early on that was a monster that came off the side of the slipper. Now, normally when we played for Scotland and the ball went off the top of the line out, you'd send that basically 5 metres backwards, and then we'd be defending our own try line.
You didn't win a line out when you were playing, Jim. What are you on about?
That was the problem. It didn't come for a line out, did it?
Hoggy, let's just talk about that, how that came off the slipper, mate, because that was a big old kick. Even I know that as a non-expert.
Yeah, I think Deno just chucked me the ball in a good position, and there seems to be a lot of space in the backfield. Yes, I just nudged it through, and thankfully it came off. I think as it started to land and realised it bounced in near 22, I started to get a little bit nervous that I might have just overcooked it a little bit, but it turned out all right. One of the better ones. Came off the right part of the boot and not an inside spiral like normal, but now we'll take it.
And for you, in terms of the kicking game, being a bit of a nose here, but I think it's quite good for the millions of listeners to hear about it, because everyone knows about your kind of counter-attack threat and ball in hand. So in terms of your development as a player, is kicking one of the things that you're looking at to try and improve? Not that it was poor before.
Who's this Jim Hamilton? How boring are you, Jim?
I'm just going back in 2014.
You complete nose.
Come on, answer it, Hoggy. You want to.
You've got to have a few strings to your bow, I guess. I think, for me, there's a time and place to counter-attack, and there's a time to, as you would say, stick the carrot in front of the donkey. So, it's good to have a decent kicking game. It gets you out of trouble every now and then when you do decide to run it and then end up running up your own backside, so you have to kind of kick it afterwards. But it's something I work really hard on. As I say, trying to get the team into some good positions and keep the forward pack going forward.
Yeah, I talked you up on BT Sport with the little kick you put through against Bristol as well. Don't know whether you noticed that, but let's talk about Saturday after the game then, because I always like to know, did the boys celebrate? I know the Exeter boys like a naked bus as well. Did you go out on the town in La Rochelle?
No, we're straight back to Exeter.
Lads.
Naked flight, was it on the way home?
Not a naked flight. There's a few beers on it. The boys were enjoying each other's company, and that was a huge result for the club and starts the European campaign in the best possible way. So we did celebrate it. There's a few sore heads on the Sunday, but now look, we're back in this morning ready to get on the next job. It's one game out of 6 that we're happy with, and here's hoping we can just kick on again this week against my old boys, Glasgow.
Matt, I love how straight-laced you are. We'll come on to that, the game next week in a minute, Hoggy. But for you personally, and you know that I'm an avid follower, being a fellow Scotland legend of the Scotland team, the World Cup was a disappointment, and it was well documented that you wanted to get straight back in. You obviously text Baxter straight after the game. Just talk to me about the emotion. I know we've seen you talk about it, but I think for the millions of listeners, it would be great just to hear about your mindset wanting to put on that Exeter jersey.
Yeah, I was, with the World Cup, and obviously things didn't go away. But I think you look at that last final game, we talked a lot about not beating ourselves, and we coughed up the ball 2 or 3 times. I think I've probably done 2 of them, and we ended up under our own post. So we got to give credit to Japan on the day. They're outstanding, and they put on one hell of a World Cup. But for me, the emotions afterwards, I was bitterly disappointed. I was really we had worked incredibly hard for 4 or 5 months leading up to the World Cup, and we felt we were in a great place, and unfortunately we just didn't back it up. But yeah, the beauty of rugby is that I got a chance to come down here straight after the World Cup, and that was a big thing that motivated me to get back playing. I didn't want to have any rest period. I wanted to just crack on with it, because the longer I sit about and think about these things, God knows what I'll be doing. So I was excited to get down. Obviously, it was over a year since we signed, so a kind of long time coming before we could get down. And as I say, now that we're here, I'm really, really enjoying it. I got a smile on my face, which I've not had for a long, long time in the rugby field, and I'm absolutely loving it.
And just off the back of you coming back from the World Cup with Scotland, obviously there's a few England players that have come back to Exeter that would have also had a bit of a disappointment. How those boys settled in? I know Jack Noel didn't play too much at the World Cup. Henry Slay played a fair bit. How have they settled back in? And secondly to that question, how beautiful is Henry Slay close up, especially in the changing rooms?
Oh my days, he is a big handsome bugger, isn't he?
I wouldn't say big. I've heard he's got a pit, but it's fine.
Not comment. Now the boys are ultimate professionals. They're straight back in on. They played on the Saturday and they were in the club on the Tuesday morning. So fair play to them. They've came back in. They've just got on with their jobs, and obviously they are disappointed with how things have gone for them. And how many times can you say you've been in a World Cup final? It's unbelievable for those boys. So it's great to have them back in, and here's hoping they can continue their form that they've had, and we can have a successful season here.
Exeter, as we know, Hoggy, a brilliant club, and that's why you've signed there, competing on all fronts now. But we've got a few friends of the show that come on. Nick White's come on, Gareth Steenson as well. We've had Don Almond as well, and everything that we speak about with Exeter is the quality of rugby that they play, but their lids and their moustaches, they're just taking it to a new level. So firstly, you know where I'm coming.
Here we go.
You know where I'm coming.
Yeah.
So when you talk about lids and you talk about some of the stuff that we see down there, like, how are you feeling about everything? Because you spent a lot of money. I don't know whether you got it for free, that new lid that you got.
Why are you being horrible, Jim?
I'm asking the question. I'm trying to ask it in a really polite way. Hoggy, what the hell's happened to the lid?
Oh, mate, I'll tell you what happened, right? Is that obviously I might have had a little bit work done to it.
You have. You can be honest. You have.
Yeah, no, I've had some work done. It's blatantly obvious. So I just had the kind of hairline done, and then I was given a dodgy old haircut towards the back end of last season, trying to get rid of the blonde, and it all kind of went tits up, really. And then I was balding again. I had a little patch, so I thought, do you know what, I'm just going to shave it off and hopefully go back and get some more work done. So that's the plans, to go back in.
I see what you're doing there. So you've shaved it off. You've shaved it off and played in some high-profile games so that a hair replacement product company comes in and says, we can help you out again, Stuart. It's for free. Wise. I like this. Wise. I like this. So a question. Obviously, I've had my hair done as well, and mine is just absolutely gorgeous now.
It's just on a swollen face.
It is a swollen face, yeah. But so the blonde bit, did it actually kill off the roots? Because I'm thinking about maybe putting some highlights in mine as well.
No.
Oh,
no,
it didn't.
The blonde was fine for the old transplant, but look, it was a moment of madness doing that. I just got bored when I was injured and decided to dye it. But it's grand. I was told it was fine, and that's the hairline part. There's the added in bits, the strong parts. The rest of it that's buggered now. So we'll just have to get on with it, I reckon.
So let's talk a little bit about Exeter as a place as well. It's a cracking place to live. I know you obviously moved down from Glasgow. Very different places, Exeter and Glasgow. But we always get a feeling it's a real family club. And I know like Steno's got the bar in Exeter, and there's some beautiful beaches in there. Mum and Dad have got a place down in Salcombe where you've settled in really well. The kids happy at schools and all that stuff, been really well looked after by the club as well.
Yeah, no, they've been brilliant. I think a big part of me coming down here was the fact that it was a good family club, and as soon as Jill and the kids are settled, then I'm going to be playing some good rugby because I'm happy. So that was a huge part of me coming here. And yeah, they've as I said earlier, the boys have been brilliant with me. The wives and girlfriends have been brilliant with Jill as well. So no, it's been perfect. And kids are in nursery, tearing the place up. There's a few times you've had to get a little letter and sign it, being aware of what our son's been up to. But yeah, no, it's been good. We've settled really well. We're enjoying it. It's a nice, quiet place, and we're having some fun.
Mate, that's what happens with good old hardy Scottish kids, mate. The English can't take it, so don't worry. Let's talk a little bit about the weekend, because it's Glasgow, and we know that this has been on the calendar, or you would have known for a long time this has been on the calendar. How do you approach that game? How will the emotions be?
Yeah, look, I think for me it's different. I've never been in this position before that I'm playing against my old club. So for me, I just got to get on do my job, make sure that I'm spot on and play my part in what will be an exciting game for us. So we're back at Sandy Park. Obviously, it wasn't ideal last week with that result when we played Bristol here. So yeah, we can owe one to the fans. So it's a normal game for myself, a normal game for everybody else, and another chance to just take a positive step forward in Europe.
I played against a lot of my ex-clubs, mate, and the first time I played against Leicester, I got sent off, so just don't do that. Don't forearm smash someone in the face.
Dare tell me that.
But talking about ex-teammates, DTH Van der Merwe has come out and said he's looking forward to teasing you about your hair. Did you give him the blonde peroxide? Because he's got it peroxide blonde as well, isn't it? He looks ridiculous.
Do you know what? He gave me so much stick for getting mine dyed blonde as well. And I couldn't believe it. And then he comes to the World Cup and he puts a little poll up on his Instagram, almost like allowing the fans to pick it, whereas he just wanted to do it because he done it in the 2011 World Cup, I think it was. So yeah, he's got the blonde hair. I think Adam Ashley's got the blonde hair now as well. There's a few boys clicked onto it, but I don't want to be the one to turn around and say I was the trendsetter.
Didn't work.
Mate, don't worry, Hoggy, mate. I'm in, mate. I'm going peroxide blonde, and I'm going to grow out a horrendous moustache and then show you my shotgun chin. That's all I'm saying.
Well, but the bagel at the top of the head, mate.
He's got dust.
Right, get him off.
He's got dust for that.
Hoggy, thank you very much for coming on the show, mate. Really appreciate it. Best of luck this weekend against Glasgow.